In today's video, I am going to be talking about many different things ranging from this past weekend in Darlington, in the point standings, and work my way up to the Hollywood Casino 400 out at the Kansas Raceway, because I believe it's going to be a fun, exciting race weekend at the 1.5 mile intermediate track, as the intermediate car suits the next gen cars really well. So we may see a very exciting race next weekend, and I'm going to give y'all my full-on predictions for that race. And after that, let's get your picks down below for the Pick 5 contest. As always, please like and subscribe, and on to the intro we go.
I'm Chase Briscoe, driver number 14 Ford Mustang for Stewart Haas Racing, and you're watching William Blackwell on YouTube.
This past weekend, the NASCAR Cup Series went out to Darlington, which is one of the few crown jewels of the season. We got the Daytona 500, we got the Coca-Cola 600, my favorite of the all. We used to have the Indianapolis Oval, now they went to the Brickyard, and it's not as prestigious as it once was, so we're taking that out of the equation. We got the Cookout Southern 500 in Darlington, and we also got the Bristol Night Race. So there's a few crown jewels of the season, and every single driver heading into the season is going to want to win all 4 of these races, because not many people can do it, and they want to be the first to do it. So, and this past weekend, we saw Kyle Larson getting the job done there. Another race victory. I believe he's a true championship contender, but the round of 12 is going to be tricky for that 5 team. You got the Roval, Talladega, and I believe Vegas. It's going to be tight for them. They got to do good in Vegas, because Talladega and the Roval are a bunch of unknowns, and that's what's going to favor some of them smaller teams like a Michael McDowell and Stenhouse if they make it through. Because if they can make it through, if you do good in Vegas, a lot of things can happen at those 2 races, and you can find yourself in the round of 8. Just ask Chase Briscoe. It worked out for him really well last year. I'm not saying it was Briscoe lucked his way in, but a lot of things happened to help Briscoe point his way into the round of 8. So if you can make it through the round of 16, you're gonna be in the dance. That's all I gotta say. But we saw Kyle Larson winning the race. Tyler Reddick coming home in 2nd place, and Tyler Reddick, I believe, had the best looking car, paint scheme wise, but also the best car on the timesheet. He was very quick. In the day, he was quick, and at night, he was quick, and you just put 2 together, he's going to go to victory lane. But at the end, he lost track position, and Kyle Larson ran away with it, and he really couldn't do much. They were running pretty much the same lap times. Whenever he would try to run a new line, he would lose all his momentum on the following exit of the corner, and things didn't just work out for Reddick at the end. He nearly got passed by your 3rd place finisher, Chris Buescher, on multiple occasions, but towards the end, by the white flag, Buescher lost some ground on him. A couple of tenths, which he got a 3rd place result. Good for him. In the last month, he has won 60% of the races, so you thought heading into Darlington he was going to be a race-winning contender, which he was, but solid day for him. I believe Buescher's now almost guaranteed a spot into the round of 12. He has to do good in Kansas, which I believe he will, and he will have some help on the side of a couple of drivers wrecking. So, Chris Buescher, a big night for him. 4th place, though, was William Byron. William Byron came close at the end of passing Buescher at the line, but just missed out. Very close. But in 5th place, though, was the biggest winner of them all. And people may say, William, why you got a 5th place driver being the big winner of the day? Isn't your winner Kyle Larson? Yes, Kyle Larson is the winner, but the driver, I believe, that came out of nowhere and did good was Ross Chastain. Ross Chastain started off the 2023 season red hot, contending for wins week in and week out. And it got to the point where he was going for all the wins and wrecking himself out the race. Justin Marks sat him down, had a talk with him. Ross, going for all these wins. You can't keep taking yourself out of the contention. Ross then started being a little less aggressive. And less aggressive Ross wasn't really clicking on things. He won at Nashville, which had a lot of people thinking, oh, Chastain is back. He's finally back. He's going to be contending for race weekends every single year. You know what? Went downhill. And a 5th place result here in Darlington has me somewhat optimistic things are on the rise for the one-car team, because we said the same about Nashville after he won, and look what happened. I hope it doesn't happen this time around at Darlington, but it's very likely. So he has to do good in Kansas, which I believe he could. There's that potential. He was good here in the spring. It's also where he landed the watermelon punch at the end of the race between him and Noah Gragson. But Chastain, though, phenomenal day. Phenomenal. But Keselowski came in 6th place. Keselowski at the end took a ballsy call to pit and have 4 fresh Goodyear tires. Worked his way up to 6th place. I believe that kind of squared things up. He was going to finish around that if he would have stayed out. He just took the gamble, maybe try to risk a couple of positions. Maybe he can get up to P4, maybe P3. If he got real lucky, P2, but definitely not the win. But Keselowski was quick at the end with the 4 fresh Goodyear tires. And we saw Denny Hamlin, a car up front throughout the whole entire race. The beginning of stage 3 had issues on his pit stop. They took 4 tires. He came out reporting a wheel was loose, came back in, got them changed. They said nothing was wrong, and Denny Hamlin said they were loose. So it was a driver error, and them things tend to happen. So you really can't blame one particular person. But Denny Hamlin didn't really lose much because he's still above the cut line, but he's going to have to do good in Kansas. Because if he doesn't, he's going to be on his heels. On his heels heading into Bristol. He did not want to be in that position. Trust me. But a lot of things like that happen in Darlington. So I believe it is necessary to take a look at the point standings. After Darlington, here's what the point standings look like. In 12th place, we got the 20 car of Christopher Bell, who struggled. He's +1 to the good. 13th place is the 23 car of Bubba Wallace, also known as Darrell Wallace Jr. It's not Bubba Wallace Jr., but Darrell Wallace Jr. Had a great day. Even though he's below the cut line, he had a great day. He is -1, but I believe he's going to do good in Kansas. Kansas suits the 2311 racing cars really well. 14th place, Kevin Harvick in the 4 car. I got Kevin Harvick going pretty far in the playoffs, as y'all all know, and he is -2 right now. That right there is concerning. I would have thought he would have done real good here in Darlington, but not as good, though. So he's below the cut line. He has his work to do in Kansas, which is a track he's done good at in the past. And obviously Bristol is Bristol. He's going to be a contender there. But I'm kind of shocked to see him below the cut line. Behind him is Ricky Stenhouse Jr. in the 47. I believe this was also a surprise. A lot of people thought, including myself, that Stenhouse was just going to struggle. He's been off the pace since, let's say, early August. He hasn't been the same. And he's finally picked it back up, being a little bit more competitive. And he's only -4. He can do good in Kansas. He's real good at Bristol. Could Stenhouse find his way into the round of 12, which has a super speedway of Talladega? That's very likely he can go there and win there. He won the Daytona 500. I like what Stenhouse is doing right now. He has to make it into the round of 12. If he can make it, then he can possibly get to the round of 8. The round of 8 is going to be a little bit more complex and more difficult. But once you're in the dance, anything can happen. Because I believe the real playoffs, the real deal starts at the round of 8. The first 2 rounds are a bunch of crapshoot races where you go to a bunch of unknown tracks and whatnot. But the round of 8 is when the championship really is up for grabs. You got to make it there, though. You got to. And the first step to doing so is make it through the round of 16. And I believe Stenhouse is going to be in a good position. -4. 16th place, Michael McDowell, -19. I am very concerned. Because he is one bad race away from being in a must-win situation. -19, you can easily pick that up over a course of one race. But as soon as you lose, let's say 25 points, that's to be the max. If he loses 6 races here in Kansas, 6 points in Kansas, he is out of it. He has to win. He has to win Bristol, which I believe could happen. but he does not want to be in that position. So he has to make up points in the Hollywood Casino 400 in Kansas. But there you go. Christopher Bell, +1. Bubba Wallace, -1. Harvick, -2. Stenhouse, -4. And McDowell, -19. Now let's go to my picks, my quick picks for the Hollywood Casino 400. When we left Darlington this past weekend, there was a couple of teams on the grid that left with a sour taste in their mouth. And one of the teams that left Darlington with a sour taste in their mouth was the 45 team, which is driven by Tyler Reddick. Because Tyler Reddick, not only did he have the best looking paint scheme I've ever seen in my life, the Jumpman, baby blue, North Carolina Jordan car, that was on fire. It was good. But he also had a car that was producing great lap times, and he was contending for the win. He should have won the race. At the end, him and Larson were just running equal lap times, and nobody could pull away. Nobody could make a pass. They were just stalemate. So he missed out on a win there, and he knows that, and Billy Scott knows that. But you know what? You don't win races on Sundays. You win them throughout the week. It starts on Monday, and it ends on Friday, because what you do then determines where you finish on Sunday. And I believe they're going to put in the hours. And I believe they're going to grind on the simulator. And I believe they're going to go to Kansas and win the Hollywood Casino 400 and make it into the round of 12. The round of 12 is going to be spicy with them two unknowns of the Talladega and the Roval. But as soon as you do good there and go to the round of 8, that's when the real playoffs start. But Tyler Reddick will win the Hollywood Casino 400 at the Kansas International Raceway. Second place to him is going to be his owner, Denny Hamlin. He also left Darlington with a sour taste. It was very quick. Had an issue at the beginning of stage 3 in one of his pit stops where he thought a wheel was loose, which it wasn't. He was just loose overall as a car. And couldn't rebound for a solid effort. He got in a little deal with Michael McDowell and Todd Gilliland, but that was out of his control. But Denny Hamlin, I believe, will rebound and have a solid run in Kansas and pretty much lock himself in to the round of 12 because I believe he's going to do good in Bristol. He's won here in the past. It's Denny Hamlin. He's going to do good. But third place, though, is going to be the 23 car of Bubba Wallace. And Bubba Wallace is below the cut line right now by 1 point. I think he's going to go to Kansas, feeling the pressure for some odd reason. He's going to go out there, a track he won that last year, go out there and finish third place. And if you're Denny Hamlin, that would be a great day for you and your team. Because you need a good run and the 11 team, but also one of your team drivers, Tyler Reddick, is going to victory lane, and the other one is finishing third and more than likely going to be above the cut line. That's going to be a big day for Toyota and Denny Hamlin. So if that can happen, I believe it's going to play a big factor in contract negotiations because he can use that as leverage, saying we're competitive in 2311 racing. So you need us. You really need us. So why would you let us go and go to Ford or Chevrolet? He's going to use this Kansas race, if it happens like this, as leverage in contract negotiations. Mark my word. All right. Fourth place is going to be William Byron, and fifth place is going to be Chris Buescher in the 17. My dark horse is Ricky Stenhouse Jr. He's a big unknown heading into Kansas. He can do really good or he can do really bad. I'm taking the risk with Stenhouse possibly scoring a top 10 result. If not, get lucky at the end of a caution, maybe still a win. Because that's definitely not out the ballpark because a lot of things happen in the playoffs. The weather looks phenomenal. It's going to be a hot and sunny day in Kansas. So if you're going to the track, remember to bring your sunscreen. Definitely not going to need a rain poncho. As of now, it looks clear. So all things are looking good there. But also get your picks down below for the Pick 5 contest. Go 4 for 5, you get an unsigned hero card. Go 5 for 5, you get an autographed hero card. So comment down below. Who knows, you may win a prize. Please like and subscribe.